Welcome, everyone. Here is Bruce Newman from Bruce Newman Academy. And welcome to the episode number 3 of Ascendcast. I will be unfortunately alone today. Joanna, for some personal reasons, could not participate. We do send our best greetings to her. Still, Joanna did send me some questions for these episodes. So, let's start. So I have a question from Beverly from London. How could I conclusively access the Akashic Records? I would have to say something, Joanna. You're sending me always some very difficult questions, and I try my best to answer, but in some point, people gotta figure out that I'm a Mongoloid, and I'm gonna become unemployed. I have to keep myself in some area of authority. I don't know whatsoever. How to conclusively access to the Akashic record? Verbally, the answer is simple. You have to become a spiritual master. You maybe have seen the number 1 episode of The Open Doors. And the guest, Dennis, he has direct access to Akashic Records, definitively. Because, in a matter of fact, all along the interview, I sown some traps for him, and sometimes some double traps. And I've been a naughty boy. I've been tricky. And in matter of fact, I do validate and assume the fact that he's effectively in direct access to the Akashic Records. Not only that, he did emit some theories about the correspondence with the theory of the twin universe and the double directions of the birth of the Big Bang and of the birth of the universe during the Big Bang. This theory of between the universe is flowing in one direction. A universe in expansion is launched, and its expansion is in acceleration. And on the other side, same universe, twin universe, will be launched, but it would be the negative version of this universe. meaning that on the other direction, the time would go backwards. And for this reason, in this double universe, because of some different property of time, the property of space would be different as well, and the property of mechanical physics would be different. And therefore, the particles could not gather in the same way, and they couldn't form a cluster of elements, and then we wouldn't see the arrival of stars after a time of its development. And yet, as far as the time is going backwards, how this double universe could expand, and this is still a paradox, as far as the matter of fact, the expansion of this universe going backward would be directly influenced by the expansion of the universe on the other side going forward. And whatsoever he was expressing the idea, our dear Dennis, that this is the same model as a torus, which is the vortex. Pretty much I will put some images on the show in order to illustrate that, meaning that the oscillation of a vortex would be reunified by an opposite vortex and from a negative polarity on the other side. I wasn't sure about this metaphor, and I did wake up in the middle of the night, struck by the idea that, in a matter of fact, this may be right, but it does make sense. And somehow, through all this Irish stew of paradox, this is logic. Even better, while speaking with Dennis, and while I was exposing some concepts which are pretty subtle about mystic, I was, in a matter of fact, exposing the showcase, the first layer of this concept, not digging on that and not showing what is beyond the curtain. And I literally saw him, because I do these things on a multidimensional level, getting connected from somehow a ray of light, and getting the answer. Oh, but it means this and that. And he did that. He hasn't any knowledge about the concept I was exposing. So I really understood at this moment, and very clearly, that he was, in a matter of fact, effectively connected to the Akasha. But you have to understand that in his particular case, it was due to an accident, a traumatic event. opening a breach on his consciousness. And this event is somehow unnatural. So there is through that some consequences. The fact that is effectively connected to the Akashic Records. And eventually, I'm by myself a member of a quite private group of quantum physics, which is gathering different experts and writers, authors, professors, students as well. And there's a kind of heavy, tricky, and excuse my French, mindful discussions about quantum physics. And I did invite him to join, because I do consider definitely that he has the level. But you do understand, Beverly, that these traumatic events which did happen to him has consequences. Meaning that he is somehow the victim of constant flow of thoughts going through his mind all the time. Because you don't cut off like that, this connection. Is receiving a terrible amount of information 24 hours. When you saw him on the show, he used to donate his blood just previously. So he was very calm. And this was quite unusual, because most of the time he does speak like a machine gun, really fast, providing 10 pages of information in just 1 minute. And as far as you can follow him, and if you can listen fast, all he's saying during this minute, all he would be saying during this minute as a machine gun would be actually completely accurate. He wouldn't be delusional in any way. So then, still, let's say you, Beverly, you didn't reach a state of spiritual master yet, and let's imagine that already you want to understand how this process of Akashic universal library works. So I would be inclined to develop an approach through 2 points of view. The, let's say, scientific or quantum physics one, and from another side, the mystical one. Already, what does it mean, this universal library? You do understand, and here I'm speaking from a scientific point of view, as far as I'm speaking from a quantum physics point of view, and the only problem is that 90% of the quantum physics theories are controversial. So while I'm speaking about science, it would be somehow speaking about science. We agree with that. Huh? In order to understand this what this universal library is about, let's consider first who did wrote all those books. As far as we are going back to the origin of the universe, we are going as far as we can from the point zero, the instant zero. And physically, that's not possible. So whatever it would be mechanical physicist or quantum physicist, we would go as close as possible to this ground zero moment. Physicists could reach the origin of the Big Bang, the 0 point, some fraction of a second to this point, but not close. And there's a limit that couldn't be overcome, which is the wall of Planck. This is a wall which is the limit of the source of informations that we could gather, connect. And it's considered that before this wall, behind this wall, we can approach it from a special point of view or temporal point of view, which is pretty much the same. There would be the story of the universe, which would be present in an infinitesimal point, like an extremely small DVD, and all the movie of the universe, of his story, will be created on this DVD. And from this point, from the explosion of the Big Bang, the story is set, and it appears as a movie. All the events and elements which are going to appear are already here and existing on this very small DVD. Therefore, you do understand that all this information that you want to have access to were already printed from the beginning. But then, and that's from this point that we're gonna gently slide from science to mystic. A phenomenon would appear, and here we're speaking, we're still on the realm of science, like this shift would be hard to perceive. And I would obviously go through this shifting on a quite devious way. A phenomenon through this manifestation of the universe gonna appear, which is consciousness. But for what is it? What is it about? Classically, and I'm speaking here from the mechanical physics point of view, manifestation appears due to the photons. The first action of God is to create lights, and his will has been accomplished. First day, God did create light. Therefore, it's all about the light, all about the photons. A particle gonna be located in space. This particle gonna be struck by a photon, and this photon gonna rebound, keeping on itself and carrying with itself the information of this particle. And in matter of fact, this photon could be observed and located in space and time because of this photon. Out of this photon, out of light, theoretically, this particle doesn't exist. And that's why we have in the universe the problem of dark matter. It doesn't emit photons, it doesn't absorb photons, it has absolutely no interaction with photons, and still it does produce a mass. Scientists get crazy about that, and some quantum physicists are emitting the theory that this dark matter is not less than negative gravity. So then, would you understand that the manifestation could be observed, and the information could be printed in the universe because of the photon, but still, there is an element which is called the consciousness. Here we're sliding directly and completely to quantum physics. According to quantum physics, the consciousness is an infinitely small vibratory phenomenon, and this vibratory phenomenon is the one which is perceiving the information of the universe. Is development. Originally, this vibratory phenomenon is global, universal. The whole cosmos is a vibratory phenomenon by itself. And it's a whole consciousness. But this whole consciousness has been somehow, in a matter of speaking, scattered in some infinite number of infinitesimal elements as cells, which become to be individual consciousness. This individual consciousness has the illusion and the sensation to be separated from this whole mass of consciousness, which is the universe. And the way that you, Beverly, have to perceive the universe is through this separated consciousness. This separated consciousness is not a product of your brain. It's not a product of your body. It's not organic. Your body is at the most a tool which allow to perceive some elements from a specific dimensional level, but it is not the witness. The holder of the camera is your consciousness. So the camera is not perceiving anything, it's just an instrument. You are perceiving things. You can perceive things through a camera or by yourself. So it is with a consciousness. So this consciousness is not a product of your body. This consciousness is connecting itself with your body. And out of this body would still perceive informations. The only thing is that this information would be perceived on a different multidimensional level. This consciousness is perceiving informations, but not only. This consciousness is recording informations. In a matter of fact, all the events which had happened in your life, they all has been recorded. Let's use this example. Those events has been recorded on your brain as if it was a hard drive. But meanwhile, it has been recorded as well on the cloud. On the cloud of the universal consciousness. And if you want to be a little bit tricky, we would even go one step further. It's not only that the information has been recorded, but we do understand that they were already written. And what's going to happen to you any further tomorrow, next year, has been already written as well. Why that? Because time is not in three dimension. It's in reality, in matter of fact, in two dimension. So it is with space. You do perceive space in three dimension, but it's completely delusional. It's a sensation of a body, actually. Your consciousness is perceiving this information in the two dimension. One information comes to consciousness, one after the other. And in matter of fact, your consciousness is perceiving a lot of information, actually to the rate of 10 millions of informations per second, which is a lot. All this information is going to be reorganized and presented as a meal, which is in three dimension. Has an hologram somehow. All this information are presented such as in a piece of paper in two dimension. And your consciousness is going to go through one specific direction and perceive this information one after the other. And this is your path and destiny. But the path and the destiny of Beverly could be and could become at some point to be transcendental, aware of all the informations around, but it will be necessarily mean, in order to be connected to all this information, that your consciousness would stop to be an individual consciousness and would realize that, in a matter of fact, this consciousness is collective. And even then, like, there's different degrees of collective consciousness. Animals don't develop an ego in the same way that humans are. The power of discrimination is lower, and they're not only driven by their instincts, but they're sharing somehow collective consciousness of dogs or collective consciousness of cats. Meaning that even when during their breeding isolated with the other dogs or the other cats, they will still, and for this reason, continue to act like a dog or act like a cat, as far as they would receive the information of this collective consciousness. And it would be the same with the humans. From this feeling of being a separated human, you can upgrade on a less level and access to a feeling to be a part of collective human consciousness. When reaching already these states, you would start to hear the thoughts of this collective consciousness, human consciousness. You have your personal thoughts, but the collective consciousness of human has its own thought as well. We did so that some years ago. Collective consciousness was pretty much the majority scared on a collective level. And in the same way, the collective consciousness is going to upgrade and awaken to a superior state of consciousness, to a superior state of awakening, to a superior state of understanding collectively. Your thoughts, you have this sensation, this feeling that your thoughts are personal. But it's not the case. In any case, all the thoughts that you have are, no matter what, a product of this collective consciousness. And whatever you're thinking about right now, Beverly, if you're thinking about it, be sure that at the same moment, somewhere, someone else is thinking the exact same thing. Your individual consciousness is conditioned, framed. From the connection of this individual consciousness to a body, mind, organism to another, all the information has been kept recorded, everything. In a matter of fact, when one is leaving his body and reconnecting to another body, during the first week of a birth, after the birth, the information has been kept in mind. During the first week, newborn baby is remembering his previous connection. And then this memory gets stored in the unconscious mind and forgotten, because there's a new flow of information coming again and again. Time, so it is, and space is like a piece of paper in two dimensions, a map. The connection to the Akasha is not much than being able to do one step back and be able to visualize all the map. You would be able not only to see all what happened, all what is, but you will be then as well able to see all that will be. Because all that will be already happened. The past is still here, but the future already happened. How to practically access to this Akashic Records? How to access to this universal library? Your consciousness has to shift from an individual point of perception to an universal point of perception, and therefore, as identified with the whole universe, could just observe its own body. But still, I would say that without reaching this point, there's still an ability to sneak inside the library and rob some books as a naughty boy or a naughty girl. And run out with the books. Then it would be to position yourself through your to your, which is called your superior intelligence. Your brain has two types of intelligence. You have a left brain, which is very rational, and you have a right brain, which is very emotional. One of his brain gonna treat all these informations perceived on a rational way, and on the other brain, all this information is going to be treated on an emotional way. None of them is better than the other. They're all good. They both has to be used. But from this point of view, this brain could only treat the information which are stored inside. Not much. And then there's something which is called your superior intelligence. This is not the rational intelligence. This is not the emotional intelligence. This is the superior intelligence. And I would invite you, Beverly, to send me a private message, and I will forward you one of my books, which is about this topic. What is the superior intelligence? Pretty much, we could say that the superior intelligence, as far as this episode of the Ascendcast is short, I wouldn't have the time to provide the presentation. Pretty much, it would be all about connecting with something which is called your intuition. You want an information from the universe, something which hasn't been perceived on your life path? Ask to your intuition. Ask and it will be given. Ask your intuition, and this information will rise spontaneously, out of the blue, coming from nowhere. But it doesn't come from nowhere. It would come from everywhere. That's the idea. On my coachings, I'm handling, you can believe me, sometimes difficult cases, sometimes hard cases, sometimes tricky cases. And I don't have all the answers. No one has. So what I do is that when I don't know, I just say it. I don't know. I will wait. And I may receive messages. And most of the time I do. I do receive very accurate, precise messages. And most of the time it goes straight to the point. And it doesn't come from me. This is not the result of my intelligence. This is not the result of my brain. It does come from up above. The answer is here somewhere in the universe. The only thing is that I connect myself to my superior intelligence, to my intuition, as far as I go one step back to my subtle body, my ego, and that process comes throughout love, empathy. Doesn't mean that I'm always a loving person. Doesn't mean that I'm necessarily an empath. I'm suffering from anger management. But in this very precise situation, because I'm loving my student or my patient is someone that I love, I want to help. And because of that, the information comes. In a matter of fact, the power of love, it sounds like sloppy speaking of the power of love, but the power of love is a vibrational frequency, which is just stupendous. It does connect you to some power that you just can't imagine. Pretty much, I would say that it would be the best short answer that I could provide. Then next step could be how to connect to your superior intelligence, how to develop your intuition. So let's go to the second question. So I have a question from Nora from London. Good afternoon, Nora. How can one dive deep into the practice of shamanism and plant medicine, without losing sight of the need to do the internal work themselves. Huh. So by speaking about the internal work, Nora, I'm going to freely interpret, and I'm going to presume that you're speaking about the spiritual work. And that makes a lot of sense. As far as, in a matter of fact, the shamanic practice and the spiritual practice could be considered as two different things. During the early stage of humanity, man did develop first the practice of shamanism, understanding the powers of the earth, developing them, developing, in a matter of fact, supernatural powers. And from this point, this power has been developed in the way that they, as humans, did understand that this power of the earth are intricate, intertwined, and linked to the powers of the universe. Their vibrational state did rise, and they did understand that there was universal consciousness. And that from this point, that spirituality did appear. The traditional shaman from the Stone Age, which is the same, but shaman of the all the ancient traditions, whether it's Native American, Indian shaman, Siberian shaman, whatsoever, are expanding the scope of their consciousness from an individual being to the collective consciousness of humans, and then to the collective consciousness of nature, including animals, plants, rocks, stones. At the age of their development, they do reach the volume size of the entire consciousness of the earth, which is called Gaia. Then they reach this ability to connect to the consciousness of the animals. They hear them thinking, they hear their emotions. When I say thinking, it's a matter of speaking. Animals doesn't have thoughts. but they feel things, and they're thinking and with emotions. Actually. An emotion is a thought. And they learn from the animals, from their wisdom. Animals have a lot to teach. One question was asked to Eckhart Tolle, who has been your spiritual master? He just said, my spiritual master has been my cat. And of course, it's such a powerful teacher. The cat is perceiving time 2 times faster than us. Stones are perceiving time 10 million times slower than us. Stones have wisdom to teach, which is silence. And the shamans were as well able to connect with plants, with the consciousness of plants. Shamans, which were practicing that the most, and that due to the local climate, were the Gaelic shamans, the druids, connecting with, they were not only using the plants for medicines, they were as well connecting with the consciousness of plants. And from a variety of plants to another, they were considering these plants has their particular soul. So they were connecting with the soul of the plants, their consciousness, in order to get informations. But not only. As far as they were cultivating plants, sometimes there were dialoguing with plants, and they were providing information to plants as well. Most of the time, in order to empower them. And once done, they were using them physically for a medicine. The idea of spirituality is to get rid of the subtle body, get rid of the ego, reaching the body of silence in order to reach several superior bodies and try to approach, and for very few connect to this realm which is out of space and time. The subtle body is ego. And plants as well have their subtle body. Even the plants have their ego. I would even push one step further, the stones as well have their subtle body and they have their ego. So it is with the earth, Gaia. So the idea is that as a shaman, you're gonna cultivate your powers, your shamanic powers. And meanwhile, if you want to spirituality If you want to dig on spirituality, if you want to elevate your consciousness, you have to become more subtle. And the powers are heavy, they're a burden. They are no less than an energetic charge. So some shamanic powers, you would receive them spontaneously. There's no work to do, you have them. They wouldn't be a part of your physical body, they will be a part of your physical body. You can use them on the same way that you would use your physical body. By myself. I'm using some special shamanic powers. Then what you have to understand is like these powers will be used what for? Is it for your protection or is it for your benefit? Is they used for benefit? Is it for your personal benefit or is it for the benefits of other people? Of course, as far as you're using power for others, they will become limitless. And as far as as you would use powers for yourself, sooner or later they will be deleted. Still, all these powers are a weight, an energetic weight, a burden. If you want to elevate, you have to lose weight. It's exactly the same. It works on the exact same way, but it works with your physical body. If you have too much fat and you want to jump up, you will have to lose weight. It's exactly the same with a subtle body. Still, connecting with the consciousness of plants will make you understand and realize in one step further that your identity already is not your physical body. Identifying yourself with your consciousness, because you will have to identify yourself to your consciousness in order to connect with the consciousness of other body organism or other body-mind organism. Which is already a step up. But one step further, you like the goal on this game, what we are all playing, all together, is to understand that we're even not our consciousness. Already understand that our consciousness is not individual, it's collective. Even one step further, it's universal, and even better. This universal consciousness is still a consciousness, it's still an ego, it is still a subtle body. It's the gigantic ego of the universe. So therefore, and fundamentally, our purpose is to understand that we are ultimately even beyond that. So let's get back to shamanism. In my work, in my personal work, and through this I did wrote many books, but mainly I'm working on since 2 years on the same book, and I never finished to write it, even if it's still on sale. People are very satisfied by the book. Personally, I feel really bad because I think it's a fraud, because this book is not finished. But let's say that my personal approach and my proposal on this book, The Gates of Great Power, is the following. It's to go and speak to people through this whole evolution of the human collective development, from shamanism to spiritualism, from the profane to the spiritual. And there are some different layers, meaning that, first of all, we would speak to people which are completely materialistic. They just believe in matter. So we're going to do an approach which is shamanic. Okay. If you only just believe in matter, but still, you're on a crisis, you're suffering, and you're searching for some answers. Let's connect to the elements. Where material, it's tangible, you can observe it, you can touch it, you can feel it. Let's connect to the wind, let's connect to the fire, let's connect to the earth, and so on. And let's take the elements as a teacher. And on some upper level, the studies of this shamanism will make you understand that there's a subtle body. You're not just only a physical body, you do have a subtle body. As far as you have thoughts and emotions, there's our subtle body. And already it would be an upgrade to identify yourself to your thoughts instead of being that identified to your body. In one step further, we would study quantum physics, because it seems to me that it's a good approach to understand that out of the subtle body, there's a consciousness. And the question would be how much this consciousness is precisely connected through space or time. Because in a matter of fact, you do understand that if you get this point, consciousness is not local, it's not positioned in your body, it's positioned in space. And as far as it's positioned in space, it is positioned in the emptiness of space. It's not located on a precise point in space. And from quantum physics, we know that space is carrying way much more information than matter. And that's the reason why. And as far as this consciousness is located in space, it's not located in a precise point in space, it's located everywhere. You cannot connect to your consciousness on a particular point in space. As far as we know, and since Albert Einstein, in our modern civilization, that time and space are intimately linked. The consciousness is not precisely located in space, it's not precisely located in time neither. Consciousness is not located in the present moment. There's no such things on mechanical physics and quantum physics. There's no present moment. It's just a sliding of phase two layers, past and future. And when some philosophers which are in matter of fact spiritual masters, as Eckhart Tolle are speaking about the present moment, the power of now. He's not speaking about a present moment located precisely in time. He's referring to some transcendental time, which is, in a matter of fact, beyond time and space, and which is eternal, the eternal present moment. As far as there wouldn't be any past or future anymore, but for all which would remain would be the present moment, which is eternal, which is your real identity. And by connecting with that, this power of now, this eternal present moment, you would connect to some realm which is beyond time and space, beyond your body, beyond your mind, beyond your thoughts, beyond your consciousness, beyond the universal consciousness, beyond everything. This is a realm which doesn't exist, and still it is the only reality. And all the manifestation of the universe is just a mirror of this reality. So in order to come back to your question, Nora, how can I balance shamanism and spirituality and my spiritual practice? This question, in a matter of fact, is extremely subtle. Because you do understand that these shamanic powers are a weight, which are impinging you to rise faster. My belief is that those powers, those spiritual powers, are like the powers of your subtle body. Same as your physical body, they have to be cleansed. You can cultivate them in order to maintain them in a good shape. Understand that already your thoughts are, in a matter of fact, a supernatural power. Your thoughts are a way invented by the universe through the life evolution to provide you the power to see the future. From your emotional intelligence and your rational intelligence, you can deduce by doing something that would be a consequence, and therefore you can predict the future. So as far as you have some special shamanic powers and you connect with plants, these are just tools. And you have to understand quite well that you shouldn't identify yourself to those tools. It's not you. Those are just tools that you're using. There's no such thing of good tools or bad tools. It's the way you're going to use it. Same with a weapon. There's no good or bad weapons. It's the way you're going to use it. If you're using those tools for yourself, your own benefits, to gain even more power, then you will give more power to your ego. And as far as your ego would be more empowered, your ability to reach a realm which is beyond your ego would be depleted. Makes sense. if your use of the shamanism and your connection with plants and your use of plants as medicines is guided and motivated by love, then necessarily will reach you beyond your ego. The idea is that things have to be understood for what they are and their true value. Shamanism is an excellent thing as far as we do understand that shamanism is not much than the power of our thoughts. It's all about our emotions, our perceptions becoming more subtle. But shamanism has its own limits as far as our thoughts have their own limits. Sorry, I'm always forgetting the S. Entschuldigungsgebiete. I have to notify that the English is not my native language. Es tut mir leid. I hope, Nora, this answer could help you. I invite you to, if you like this part of shamanism, there is a great chapter in this book, At the Gates of Great Power, speaking about the power of plants, Celtic shamanism, Gaelic shamanism. I made some video about that, so those videos are private, but send me a message and I will send you this video for free. They're part of a program. Or you can buy the program. It's not much expensive, like $30 or something like that. You can just go on the website, nextlevelofyourself.com. So it could be developed any further, but let's go for now until this point. We may have, and I hope so, the opportunity to study that any further. And thank you for the question, Nora. It's a very subtle question. I couldn't answer completely. The episode is short. So, of course, I can only provide a superficial answer. So, Joanna is not here during this episode. She couldn't come for some personal reasons, but she still did send me a question. I asked to Joanna, send me some questions for this episode that I could answer. Because people don't send me any messages on Instagram. I send them messages, they don't answer. What to do? They don't want to speak with me. What to do? So at least Joanna is a good, but it's understandable. Pretty much, you can see I'm a total rock, so people don't want to speak with me. But Joanna is a very good person. And I would recommend you all to go on the Instagram profile of Joanna Raphael, which is an unbelievable coach. She's coaching mothers, but not only. Skills, levels are multiple and incredibly high. So I vividly recommend you to go and visit her profile and ask for some coachings. her spiritual level is very high as well. So get this opportunity. It's a chance for you. And as far as she's a sweet person as well, people are speaking with her and they're asking questions, and she forwarding question. So, but here, Joanna did send me, and by the way, Joanna, you sent me 2 questions. I asked for more questions. I thought it wouldn't be enough, but already we're about something like, I don't know, almost 1 hour and a half. So it's going to be a long episode. I'm always surprised by my ability to prefer and say rubbishes. My skill to produce bullshit is quite impressive. I do impress myself, actually. So, the question is following. The ancient philosopher Epictetus used the example of 2 burning coals placed together. One that burning and one that is cold and unlit. Either the lit one would light the cold one, or the cold one will put out the fire of the lit one. How can we build strength within us? And yeah, I'm writing like a doctor, so I even can read myself. I did note the questions from the SMS to the notebook. How can we build strength within us to influence those around us rather than be influenced ourselves? Thank you, Joanna, for this very hard question. Once again, I got no idea how to answer. I gotta try my best. It's hard actually to escape from the influence of others. It's extremely hard. And still it's extremely interesting. There's so much to say. First of all, there's no way to influence others as long as we want to influence them. An influence could be provided, but it will be temporal. The longer would be the time of one incarnation. And on the following incarnation, there would be some reversal. And as far as this influencer would have been forced, the reversal would happen with brutality. So the thing is that the deepest and strongest influences appear to be when it's not wished. It just happened spontaneously. One example. I use Leslie to coach a woman in London, which is doing some spiritual discipline since 20 years, maybe. And I even don't know if her spiritual level is higher than mine. How to say that? Unless you become a spiritual master, there's no way to figure out which is your level. The only way to have some clues about your spiritual level is to observe the flow of your thoughts. If you're thinking all the time and you're dreaming all the time, then this is not a good sign. It means that your spiritual level is low, which is bad news for me because I'm dreaming all the time. And eventually I have sometimes some shamanic dreams, seeing the future from the dreams. That's not super. A spiritual master wouldn't dream as far as the unconscious mind would be completely dried, and the mind of a spiritual master is unified, and there's only a conscious mind. He's conscious of everything, of what's happening externally, but as well happening internally. He knows himself completely, so much that there is no self anymore. So it appears that this passion for my coachings, she pretty much come from the ancient Gaelic world, and her ancestors were part of the of Druidism. She probably had some ancestors which were Druids, and some of her closer ancestors were witches. So spontaneously, she often have special dreams. She sees futures, premonition, a lot of things. And we start a level 3, some level 3 sessions, which are the last level that I can provide throughout my assistance. As an author and a philosopher, I'm not a spiritual master in any case. Most of you who knows me enough knows how much I'm a mongoloid. But still, what I can do is offering some assistance and helping to understand how the spiritual mechanism and the mystical mechanism works. And this mechanism, any further, could be adapted in any kind of mystical practice, any kind of religions. It's just an intellectual mechanism. So my expertise is, my primary expertise to be a philosopher, so that I can do. Helps to assist to understand this intellectual mechanism. But still, the understanding of a spiritual mechanism is a practice by itself, leading to something higher, leading to some further step. And there's no control about that. It's by understanding that a state of grace could happen. There's several ways to enter the spiritual discipline, the way of the ants, which is about meditating and slowly, day by day, relentlessly drying the ego. There's a way of the heart, the way of the devotion. If you connect yourself to a saint or a spiritual master, whoever he is, and by being devoted to him and loving, and it goes with a practice of chantings, singings, sacred songs, sacred fragrances. sounds are waves, and you dilute yourself through these waves and the waves of your heart. And you love. You can access to some higher spiritual states. And there's which is called the way of the falcon or the way of the birds. Like you reaching directly and instantly the highest spiritual states by understanding. And this understanding comes through the intellectual tool. You're using your subtle body and your thoughts, but only a part of your subtle body, not your emotions, just your thoughts. And by understanding it intellectually, it rises you to a superior level spontaneously. So we were working with this patient student. I never know how to call. I hate calling them my clients. We were working on that, and it leads her to some mystical experiences. She was observing the world, the events, and the manifestation one step back as a witness and experiencing the state of awakening. So throughout these coaching sessions, it leads her to be for some things, let's say one afternoon, awakened. During one afternoon, she came to be a spiritual master. How could it be from my personal influence? As far as by myself, I'm not a spiritual master, and by myself, I'm not in this state. It does happen that I spend some hours in this state as a witness, which is pretty much the state of a spiritual master, but because of the influence of some other persons, sometimes a spiritual master, sometimes even some of my students, which are has a breach, which come from the Celtic hospital, they had a breach. From this breach, the light comes down, and they then go through a spiritual discipline. They have a connection to their spiritual master. Through the interaction that I do have with them, I do connect by myself to their spiritual master, and have this slap. And during 2-3 hours, I'm on this state, but it's an accident. It's not due to my personal level. So as far as I'm a common man, a simple offer, philosopher, how can I reach someone to be leading to this higher state? An influence has been done, but not by me. Not by me. An influence has been done, but this influence is transcendental. A quite higher and superior consciousness did influence events, leading this woman from London to do some coaching with me. And I've been just an instrument, a mirror of herself. And she, in a matter of fact, has been working with herself and used me as a mirror to connect with her higher self. So I didn't influence anything. It wasn't intentional. And I would like to remind that the spirituality is a dangerous practice. And by myself, I often have accidents with some students. because some of them are not ready. They're not ready to meet themselves. That's why I'm quite careful now. I'm discarding most of the students. I'm discarding most of the candidates. Because I know that it would lead the students quite far. And not because of me. I'm a normal person. It will lead them quite far because of a practice we're gonna go through. And by myself, by following a spiritual practice, I had many accidents. I even wonder how I still could be alive. So that's the point. An influence would appear. And a strong influence. Something tremendous, something brutal, something deep. But not because of us. We have to be very humble. We are just material. We are just instrument. We are just mirrors. Everybody knowing me knows that I'm a stupid mongoloid, but when I'm doing a coaching or a course or an assistance, I try myself to delete and erase my ego temporarily, as much as I can. I do my best. And by deleting myself, annihilating and erasing my ego temporarily. And it's possible only because if I speak to someone, it's all about the person. There's nothing about me. There's nothing about personal. I would not judge. I would be pure love. And my point would be to feed the person, empower the person, lead the person as much as I can. So often the results are surprising. By working on shamanism, sometimes with shamanic tools, with some students or clients or whatever you call them, we would do the job of 5 years of psychoanalysis in 5 weeks. But it's not because of me. It's because of the tools. I'm going to suggest and propose and put on the table some special tools, shamanic tools. I know they're bloody powerful. And I know every time that the result will be very strong. But I got no idea about the consequences. This is completely experimental. I wish I would have been a salesman and selling yellow stickers on the internet, but it didn't happen like that. I'm now speaking in front of this camera, speaking about quantum physics. The hell? And in the same way, Joanna, I don't think that people could influence you. They can't. You have your beliefs. You have your values. You know what you know. As far as you understood what you do understood. They can't influence you in any way. They cannot change your mind. They cannot change what you know. What you know is true. You know that some things are true in your life. It could not be reversed. It could only be reversed is it could only be reversed if the thing that you're giving value are wrong, inaccurate, and a lie. If you think that you are your body, if you think that you are your ego, if you identify with it, it could be reversed, because that's not true. If you do understand that you're not your body and you're not your thoughts, no one, even the worst monkey with his worst brutality, and God knows how much the brutality of man can go far. It seems like there's no limits. But whatever the level of brutality would be, if you did understood that you're not your body and not your mind, it could not be changed. It could not be reversed. As far as it's known for good. All which could be done is to be heard, to be wanted. So yes, people can hurt you so bad, but they can only hurt your body. Eventually, they can hurt your mind. But whatever they would do to your body or your mind, they have no access to your soul, so to speak, your consciousness. Whatever would be done. So in a matter of fact, they can't influence you, and you can't influence them. But what is for sure is that if the vibration of your consciousness rise, an influence will be done. An influence will appear. It could be raised stronger than you imagine. The effects, results, and consequences of it surprising would be surprising, eventually, and astonishing things will happen to them. This is what we could call the influence of the light, the influence of a saint. Nothing happened, and yet everything happens. By dipping into your inner silence, gripping the silence and making it unwearable. Nothing could touch you. but you would resonate. The silence would resonate. And it would go like oscillations. This is a vortex. This is the torus. A single note is produced very weakly, very subtle. But be sure that this note will have the same impact as a truck. It will go with more time, but these notes goes through oscillations, and it expands and expands. And at the end of the road, it would be a wonderful slap and punch, like an atomic bomb. Sometimes it goes faster, but it's not of your concern. When you're going for a spiritual discipline, you're building something which is called a circle of virtue. You want to hang out with people which are virtuous. By doing so, you will preserve your integrity, and you wouldn't be influenced by the devil. And each member of the circle will help and sustain each other's. But still, you will be protected and evolving through a bubble of comfort if you only hang out with those people. And comfort is the worst addiction of all. By evolving throughout the normal life with stupid peoples, unconscious of themselves, living in lie, living in illusion, living in violence, living in brutality, hurting you, tempting you, putting some traps. Your training would be more intense, harder, painful. But if you hold the grip on the silence, and no matter what, keep yourself focused on it, unwearable, then your progress will go faster, deeper, stronger. The demons outside are not worse. They're not worse than the demons that you have inside. Open the door of the animus, enter the hidden room of your unconscious mind, and you will see all those demons. This has a name. It's called the shadow work. The only thing is that when all those demons and all those shadows from the outside are saying lies and preaching for false values, you have to oppose yourself to them, not brutally, but unwearable and firm, and say to them, you are a lie. You're a liar. That's not the truth. And in the same way, you shouldn't accept gifts from them. And still, some people are living in the darkness, and there is something which is called compassion, benevolence. How to lead someone which is living in the darkness and guiding this person to the light. Some people are close to us, family, close people, whatsoever, people we're living with. We're supposed to live with them, so it's our duty to guide them. And it's difficult. You don't bring someone living in the darkness to the bright light instantly. You have to be patient, step by step, showing a piece of understanding after another. And you can influence people, but you can put some tools on the table. It will be their choice to use them or not. But relentlessly, you will put some other tools and other tools. It may create an influence ultimately, but it wouldn't be yours. They would choose to work on themselves. Does explaining things to someone is influencing someone? There's no intention, there's nothing personal. You're explaining to someone how it is. It's a fact. And some facts are not necessarily rational. By explaining how it works in reality to someone, you would just expose the truth. And the fact that the person would understand how it works, understand this mechanism, and recognize that what is true, would not be upon your control. In a matter of fact, we can't control anything. Things are happening spontaneously. Some people get influenced spontaneously. Some people does understand spontaneously. It's not from our will. It does come from a superior will. Will they understand or not? This is written already. We are not the author. But already we can understand that we are actually reading a book. We are not a character of this book. I hope that haven't been too clumsy with this answer, which is delicate. I'm trying my best as usual. Thank you everyone for following this show. The Ascendcast is for you. Don't forget to send me some messages to my Instagram profile, Bruce Newman Official. Please have a look to the Instagram profile of Joanna Rarfight on Instagram. I wish you an excellent day and see you soon. And don't forget, trust yourself. Be next level.